evening. How the heck are we doing?
We are good. I hear that you have some exciting news for us.
Yeah, we got some cool stuff to talk about. Yeah, we can jump right into this stuff and let's see what we got. We got 35 people out in the room. That's amazing. That's awesome. Hopefully we got a bunch of new people in here from last week. That'll be exciting as well. Let's jump in. Well, first, let's refresh everybody's memory on a little bit about the tokenomics because this will actually kind of play into a few things that I want to talk about. First is the number of tokens it's going to require to get to our ultimate God Bull. So we talked about last week how we need 13,200 tokens in total to get to the God Bull. We need to hold bulls, our Genesis OG bulls in our wallet of the same guild in order to generate an incubator with 600 tokens, and then again another 600 tokens to generate a teen. But what I don't think anybody caught last week was we clarified that the teens that are generated are not necessarily from the same guild that the OG or Genesis bulls are. So that actually creates an interesting scenario where we don't necessarily have to hold two bulls from every guild in order to generate the teens required to advance the game to a God Bull. So that was something that I've been talking with a few members in our space. Sales Tech, who's in the room, has actually been amazing with some really cool numbers as far as calculations on how to get to the God Bull. And him and I were talking, crunching some numbers earlier today. Did most of the work, for me, which I appreciate. And we determined that even with four bulls, or even two bulls, which would take a long time, but four bulls, if the luck is in on your side, that you could actually have a path to get to the God Bull. And that's because of the selection of teen bulls is random. And by it being random, if you're lucky enough to land a teen bull from every guild from those two bulls or four bulls, then you have that opportunity to get to the God Bull. So if you have a chance, you can go. I think it was posted on our general page, the actual count of tokens in that process of getting to a God Bull. But I think that's something interesting. So that brings back into play what we talked about last week was even the smallest holders have a path to to play the game. You don't have to hold a lot of bulls in order to get to that point. Of course, holding more bulls is going to give you more tokens. More tokens is going to give you more opportunity to play the game faster. But like we talked about last week, we don't know what's going to happen on the secondary market. Are tokens going to be available in the secondary market? Are incubators going to be available in the secondary market? Are teens going to be available in the secondary market? I think the answer to all those questions is most likely. So with that as well, that kind of brings into I think an interesting gameplay scenario with the project that a lot of people, depending on their means, will be able to advance the game at their own pace, even with just holding maybe two bulls or four bulls or whatever that count is. So I think that's exciting. I'd like to open up some questions specifically on that before we jump into the other news. I thought that was pretty interesting. Do you have any questions in there, Poco, on that? Or do you have any questions you want to jump into that may be related to that you saw in the Discord?
Right now we have no one asking to speak, but a question for you: Will we be able to purchase teen bulls on on OpenSea, for example, and incubators?
So the answer to that is yes. All it takes is somebody to list their teen bulls and incubator after they mint it. It's once it's in your wallet, it's yours to do with as you wish. So if you decide that you want to mint a bunch of teen bulls and maybe you don't want to play the game all the way to the end for the God Bull and you just want to utilize that asset in your wallet to maybe earn more tokens, then you can absolutely do that. That is your choice. The other option is let's say you collect enough teens, but you realize that you're not getting that extra guild, but you've got three of the same guild. Maybe your choice is to take one of those teens and throw it up on OpenSea to generate the funds you need to then acquire the teen of the guild that you need. So there's going to be a lot of different options and opportunity. And I think the deeper we get into the game, I mean, I think it's going to happen probably right away, but I would venture to say a couple weeks into the game as people start collecting the teens, start collecting the incubators, and they're sitting on these additional assets, then they'll start looking at what the market is and where they think what they think that value potentially is going to be. So I think that's pretty exciting. I think it's going to be crazy. It's going to be the Wild West. We're going to be seeing all kinds of scenarios going on, and I think that's the great thing here is it's not just one asset that we're talking about. There's multiple. You've got the incubator, you've got the teen, you've got the orb. Of course, you've got your bulls, your OG bulls. So that could be a scenario too where let's say you mint 5 OG bulls and you've got 3 of them in one guild and 2 in the other, and you realize in order to generate the incubator you need to have pairs. So maybe you take that 5th one and you want to exchange it to get a pair if you're not getting the same pair of another. There's a lot of different scenarios. So I think it's going to be up to everybody to study it and decide what's best for themselves and then play the game the best they think they know how. And I'm hoping that the things we talk about in here help giving people ideas, and then they can start investigating themselves, doing their own research, and coming up with some good scenarios.
Absolutely. If you have 14 bulls and you want that extra teen bull to make your merger, but you don't want to wait for the accumulation of those meth tokens, you could go on the secondary market and accelerate the process, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, because all you need is four teens from each guild. The 15 can be anything random. So that's exciting. So let's jump into, since we're talking about teams, I think that segues us right into what I'm really excited about, and I'm hoping that everybody got a chance to watch the incredible video that the team put out that Neo Manny worked really hard on. I think I've watched it probably 10 times already myself, so I can't get enough of it. So hopefully everybody's watched it. I'm going to actually post right now in the general chat a couple screen grabs of the video because that's part of what I want to talk about and something that's going to add an extra layer to our game, which is what I'm really excited about. So um, the first one, give me a second here while I open up and grab this photo real quick. Okay, first one that I'm posting. Okay. So the first one that I just posted in the general chat is a screenshot from the video. And this character is a teen bull. This character's the name of this teen bull is Subject One as of right now. That's the name of this teen bull. And this happens to be the very first teen bull that was created by the scientists when they determined that they could extract the DNA and put it into an incubator to generate a new species. Okay, so just I want you to keep that in mind. So this is what we call subject one. All right, so I'm going to post another one. Okay, so the next one is the same one. You'll notice the orange horns and the orange eyes. This is also subject one. So I just want you to keep that in mind. So now we have subject one at its infancy or teen when it's first generated out of the incubator. And now we have subject one from as seen as a more mature teen. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, so I'm going to post the third one. And I think the third one you guys will mostly recognize because this was named. The third teen bull is the teen bull that's named Red. Red, in the character and the lore, is the teen bull that discovered the mountain, went to the mountain, and decided to sacrifice himself to become the first orb. So he's the one that felt the calling, decided he was going to go to the mountain, and at that point sacrificed himself as the first orb to generate the God Bull. So these three characters are important. Now, in our NFT, these three characters are going to be characters that somebody's going to be able to mint. But these three characters specifically will be identifiable. Now, technically, they're not a one of one, but there will be nobody like them. So, yes, you're going to have characters that may look like Red, that may have the red fur, that may have some additional traits added on it. But one very specific NFT will be identifiable, and we'll tell you guys what that is as we get into the game as the character Red. Then one specific NFT will be identifiable as the character Subject 1, as the initial teen, and then as Subject 1 as the more mature teen. So we're going to have three additional NFTs in our collection in the teen collection. And keep in mind, the teens are a separate collection. You have the OG Genesis Bulls and the 5 God Bulls are one collection, and then you have the teens as a second collection. There's going to be three specific NFTs in this teen collection that are going to be identifiable. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. I think you guys are just going to have to wait and see how the game plays out. They could be important in the game. So that's something else going to be interesting as you start to mint these teens. You're going to want to pay attention to what teens you're sacrificing. So I guess that's where I'm going, because we know that we have 12,450 teens overall, and 3,450 teens are going to have to be sacrificed in order to acquire the incubators and to then merge with the orb. I'm sorry, to acquire the orbs, to acquire the orbs and then to be merged with the orbs in order to generate the God Bulls. So that's going to leave 9,000 of those behind. So it's going to be interesting to see who's paying attention in the game as these teens start to be minted and where they're at. So that way the people that are minting them are going to realize what they have in their wallet. So that's going to be another interesting layer to this gamification. So any questions on that?
Can you tell us more about Red, Papa Tank?
Well, I can't really tell you anything more than what's already been discussed in the story. Like I said, Red is not Subject 1. It's a different teen. Subject 1 is the first. That's why he's called Subject 1. Now, why is he called Subject 1? I don't know. I haven't gotten that answer yet. I don't know it. Why he doesn't have an official name yet. That could be something in the game as well. I don't know. That's above my pay grade at this point. But going back to Red is a separate character in the lore. He's a separate character that's going to be in the story that we're developing, and that's has been developed. I mean, you don't see everything that's out there. There's parts of the story that have not been published yet. But he's an important character because he's the first teen bull that identifies and recognizes that there's a bigger purpose and that he's drawn to the mountain to then sacrifice himself to become an orb, and then by sacrificing himself to become an orb draws a teen from every guild, as in the storyline, to then merger with him to create the God Bull. So that's his importance. Where his importance lies in character development before that point, that's to be seen. We'll see how the story develops, and that's something that we're going to watch. But like I said before, I think the real important thing is that these three characters are unique characters in the game. They are NFTs, just like any other generative NFTs. You'll see some characters that maybe look similar, that have the same color fur, the same color helmets, that same color horns, same color eyes. The blue hoodie is important because the blue hoodie is part of his trademark. And then there may be another characteristic added. But when we look at the collection, there will be an identifying feature that will be unique to him and to the two Subject 1 NFTs that are going to make them different from all the others. So okay. I think that's the exciting thing. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so I have two questions. One isn't really about tokenomics, but maybe you can shed some light on this. It's been coming up a lot in Discord, and it was in regards of what rights do people have over their bulls? What can they do with them?
So I think that question is going to be better answered by Anthony, and I know that he's working on a video for that because I know that question has been coming up. and
Hmm.
that is in his wheelhouse specifically. So I think that I'm going to defer to Anthony and let him answer that question. I think we'll let him answer that, and he will be posting a video on that.
Perfect. Thank you. I know it's been discussed behind the scenes, and Anthony's working on it. So thank you. Second question: have the apes been thought into the roadmap?
Yes, the apes are. I mean, they're not visibly seen in our roadmap that's posted yet, other than being a reference. I can tell you without disclosing a lot of information that the gamification of the teens are there, and there is some impact. I can actually share. I shared this on the first Tokenomics Tuesday. I don't know if we talked about it last week, but one thing that we can disclose is when the apes are introduced, they will have an impact on the OG Genesis bulls. The impact that they're going to have is a multiplying effect of the token earnings. So, as an example, if you've got a OG Genesis bull, you're earning 10 tokens per day. And that's what you're going to earn every day while you hold it without staking. You don't have to stake our NFTs. You just hold them in your wallet and you're generating those 10 tokens per day. Once the apes are introduced, there's going to be a multiplying factor, and how that factor is going to work, if it's going to be different among certain traits, if certain rarities are going to have certain things, that's still being worked out. But we know that it's going to have a multiplying. So, as an example, you may mint an ape, and when you pair that ape with a specific bull or a bull in your wallet, instead of generating 10 tokens, you may generate 20 tokens. So they're going to have a multiplying effect that does two things. One, it brings these two characters together to have this symbiotic relationship in the gamification itself. So they're going to have an impact on each other. But what it does as well, and I think this is what is really important with our project, is it still places a high value on our Genesis collection, on our OG bulls. Some projects you'll get an initial mint, and then when you start seeing other mints come into the project where you're having to purchase them, they're not like our NFTs to our first mint, because as we've talked about, the incubators, the teens, the orbs, and the god bulls are all minted via the tokenomics of the project and through the meth tokens. So you're paying gas fees and that's it. Unless you want to purchase outside on the secondary market, you can actually play the game within the game itself, and earn those additional NFTs. So going back to the introduction of a new NFT, a lot of projects, when you see a new NFT come in, you'll see the floor of the initial Genesis NFT drop sometimes, because people are offloading what they don't think are valuable to then acquire enough funds or capital to invest in the new NFT. So what our founders have done to help counter that and help us as collectors secure our floor and secure our values is they're making it so that way these two NFTs interact. So you don't necessarily want to get rid of a bull if you mint an ape that you need to work with that specific bull to generate additional tokens. So I think that's brilliant as far as helping us to maintain our values and to help add additional utility within the project. And then keep in mind, we still don't know when the creator is going to be, present himself. So the creator may wait to show himself until after Mint 2. So that's going to be another reason why you don't necessarily want to drop a floor bowl, because God forbid you drop a floor bowl to mint an ape and you find out the floor bowl you dropped happens to be the creator. I think that would be a little crushing. So there's a lot of really cool things in our project that are going to help us to really uh, keep the project moving without affecting our initial collection, our Genesis OG bulls, and helping for all of us that are collecting these OG bulls in the beginning. Because keep in mind, we're all collecting these OG bulls. We're going to get these in our wallets. We're going to be doing some amazing things. And we have a lot of eyes on us now. But once this project launches and once we prove ourselves to the broader community, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to want to FOMO in, and we're going to be holding the bags. And so their options are going to be secondary market or the additional new mints that are coming up. So that's all going to help us. And I think that's what's going to be amazing as this project moves forward, as we move forward through our roadmap. It's just going to bring more attention to the overall project and the success that I'm confident we're going to have.
Thank you. And speaking of future mints, someone asked in the community, will you be able to mint an ape without holding an OG bull, teen, or god bull?
Absolutely. It is a completely independent collection. And that brings up to my point that I just made, where you have people that are going to be seeing this project advance. We're going to be going through our gamification. They're going to come into this project after we've already been through our mint, and they're going to be looking to acquire these apes. So yes, we're going to have the apes are not dependent on you having to hold any one of our other any one of our other NFTs in your wallet. And that goes for the same with Mint 3. We've talked about Mint 2, but there is going to be a Mint 3. There are going to be additional characters in Mint 3 that are going to be introduced to the collection. So as we build this lore and this story and this world that's being created, these characters are going to be added. It's going to be a whole storyline, like you'd watch a show as you're getting characters added and being brought into the project. It's just going to be developing, building this entire community.
Thank you. Question for Tank. Will there be whitelist opportunities for apes given to OG bull holders? Any thoughts to how whitelist will work on the next mint? That's a bit far ahead, but
Yeah, that's a bit far ahead. So I will say that yes, there's always going to be whitelist opportunities. How those whitelist opportunities are going to be for our OG holders, I cannot answer that. Um, but our project has already shown, if people have an idea or they've got an opinion, go to the suggestion box, drop it in there. You may think you're way ahead of the game, but don't be afraid. Everybody reads those. We talked about that. Poco and I talked about that last week. That Guy is in there reading those. So if you think there's something that would benefit the community, as an example on how a whitelist should be allocated once we get into our additional Mint 2 and Mint 3, throw a suggestion in there. We have our ears open. We're always listening.
absolutely. Feedback is so important. Her crypto asked if there would be videos that would explain the different guilds coming up.
Yes. So I will tell you right now that the guilds, as described in the storyline, the video that was just released yesterday, are east, west, or north, south, east, west. It's the directions. Now, are those guilds going to develop into something more than just directional? I would say stay tuned. That those chances are greater than not. That was done just to be able to provide a means of identifying your NFTs when they're launched. So when the NFTs are launched, there's going to be an identifying mark on the NFT that's based on that direction, north, south, east, or west, that will help you to identify what guild that NFT belongs to. And then those directional allocations, north, south, east, and west, will be developed into more defined guilds and more defined community. As those guilds are developing their own community and own traits or whatever it is that this project is moving forward to, that will be developed more. So the north, south, east, west is how it's being initially identified.
And to add to what you're saying, Tank, on this week's sneak peek Friday, when it gets posted, you will actually be able to see for the first time how the guilds are identified on the OG Bulls.
Yeah. And then also, just to bring up another point, if you remember in the video, the guilds also identify where the cities were built. So if you remember in the video, when the clouds part and the light comes from the top of the mountain, you see those shining cities. Those cities identify the directions. So you have a southern city, a northern city, an eastern city, and a western city. So that's also part of the storyline. It's not just a guild, it's also the cities that those guilds belong to.
Excellent, thank you. From Arts, thoughts on giving God Bull holders a free mint or whitelist for all the future BAP mints?
I mean, that's a great suggestion. I would say drop that in the suggestion box. If you think the God Bull is unique enough to have a priority, that could be cool. I'm not saying that it can't happen, but that's a decision that the team would make. So throw it in the suggestion box. Absolutely.
Absolutely. That would be a cool advantage to your God Bull. So please write in the suggestion box, and Mr. Guillermo will definitely take note of it. And what else do you have for us, Tanky?
So I also wanted to bring up another point, something to expand a little bit more on the guilds and the cities. Each city also has its own color according to the story. So color is going to play into the project as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So these are all little nuggets and layers that are being built upon each other as we start to disclose and share more of the story and more of the lore.
Here's one for you. Especially with what happened this weekend with the BAYC land sale, I feel since these bulls live in a society, it's only natural to introduce land. Is that in the cards in the future?
I can't have that. Yeah, I mean, I can't answer that. There's nothing that I have heard of that's been shared with me. It doesn't mean that that's not something that the team wouldn't look at. Um, and I'll repeat this again. This project is very open to what's best for the community. If it makes sense for the community and makes sense for the project, our founders would probably explore anything. But that's the key. The key is about the project and community. It has to make sense for the community and it has to make sense for the project. And those are the two most important things.
Absolutely. We'll have to talk to the big guy about that one. Digital Dad, why did we choose Ethereum blockchain?
So Ethereum blockchain, because at this point in time, it is probably the most popular blockchain and most widely used. Now, I know there's going to be arguments against other blockchains, efficiency, and maybe that's another discussion for another group of people to talk about the gas wars and things that we just had with the UOS, the drop, the BAYC drop that we just had. But when starting the project, the founders felt that the Ethereum blockchain was the best blockchain to be on just because of the exposure and what the blockchain offered.
Awesome. Thank you. Next
Yep.
question. Data Lorian. Any info on if the tokens will have an impact on the physical card game in development? Certain cards can only be purchased with tokens, etc.
Yes, actually, that was discussed. Neo talked about that in I believe he talked about it in either one of his podcasts. It may have been on one of our spaces. That the initial release of the card game is going to be a Founders series, and that Founders series will be purchasable via the Meth tokens. That's the only way that you're going to be able to get it is with the Meth tokens. So it's going to be exclusive for people that hold the tokens and are part of the community.
Awesome. Adding some utility to our meth.
Absolutely. Now, that does not mean that after that initial release, there has not been a count that I know of. I know there's been some numbers that they won't then produce a more broadly available version of that for then purchase through other multiple platforms. I would suspect this is just throwing a dart against the wall that I'm sure Amazon would be in play, just knowing our founders, that once we get to that point, if they do develop that game and once they get the Founders Series out and they do decide to do a release of a larger quantity, that's probably where that'll be purchasable. And that's just me saying that. I don't have any other inside information other than just an educated guess.
Thank you. We do not have any questions. Do you have more to offer? Would you like to tell us about um the calendar that you'll be making? 12 pictures of tank that will be able to be
Yeah.
purchased with meth token?
No, that's not going to happen.
Oh, okay.
We can talk about. I mean, let's go through. Let's go through. If there's anybody in the room that has not been here for the last two, I'd like to just walk through the process of acquiring a god, so that way we understand the requirement of how to get that and what you'll need to hold in your wallet for anybody that's new in the room, and then maybe that'll spur some questions. I know we've got 54 people. I was hoping we could get some interaction here and get somebody up on stage, but let's talk about it. So, as I stated before, you will need to hold a minimum of two. Well, every bull will acquire tokens. You will get meth tokens regardless of whether you have 1 or 10, and that's 10 tokens per day per bull. But in order to play the game and acquire the incubator and team, you will need a minimum of 2 bulls in your wallet. Those 2 bulls with 600 tokens, you can then mint an incubator. With that incubator and 600 additional tokens, you can then convert that incubator into a team. So now you hold your team. You will need to have 5 teams in your wallet, one from each of the 4 guilds, and then one additional. And it can be of any selection of those 4 guilds. It doesn't have to be anything special. Those 5 teams will ultimately cost you 6,000 tokens to acquire. And again, I will state that that is if you are acquiring through the gamification of the project. If you go outside off of the secondary market, that's everybody's choice. You can do that. But if you just utilize the gamification and the tokens that you're being dropped for free in your wallet, it'll take 6,000 tokens to acquire those 5 teen bulls that you will need to then advance in the game. With those 5 teens, you take one of those teens, which is the one that's the common, not the 4 unique, and you take that teen with 2,400 tokens and you mint yourself a merger orb. So now you've got 4 teens, one from each guild, and a merger orb in your wallet. With an additional 4,800 tokens, you then take those 4 teens and the 4,800 tokens and you mint a God Bull. That process will take 13,200 tokens. So that is the process in order to get to the minting of a God Bull utilizing the gamification within the project itself. Keep in mind that as you're going through this process, we just dropped some information today. You're going to want to keep your eye out for these 3 unique teen NFTs that are part of the lore and the story of the project. And before we get to the point where we're actually going to be minting the teens, we will disclose what that unique, I don't want to call it necessarily a trait, but there's going to be something within the NFT itself that will make it identifiable. So you know, oh my gosh, this is red, or this is subject one as a newborn, or this is subject one as a more mature teen. So you'll know what ththose 3 NFTs are. Okay.
Okay. Are you ready for some questions?
Yes, please. I'm excited.
Oh, by the way, I already sold our first calendar. Just to let you
Okay,
know.
great. All
Okay.
right, let's move on to some questions.
Minus gamification, what other utilities are there for someone that say holds one bull, one OG bull? What does the teen or god bull provide that an OG bull won't? Minus rarity and more meth.
Well, I mean, I guess that is the answer. I mean, minus rarity and meth. So the OG bull is going to be the Genesis bull. So the expectation, and this is not financial advice, and we're not a security, just want to make that clear. But the expectation is there's going to be an increase of value as there's an increased demand within the project for our OG Genesis bulls. So that would be something that would be a benefit. The meth token, like we said, excluding that. The Teen Bull is a separate collection, as I stated. Our Genesis collection includes the OG Bulls and the God Bulls themselves. So the Genesis collection is actually a collection of 10,500. The Teen Bulls, which is now a collection of 9,000, is an independent, separate collection. So there's value in having a collection. It's an NFT. It can be a PFP if you like it. Maybe you want to sell it on an open market, whatever that case may be. Now, as we get through our roadmap, the founders have been very clear that they want to add additional utility as in real life utility. And we talked about this a little bit last time. The founders are from the corporate world. They have had massive success in entrepreneurship, running their own businesses, running corporations, and they want to bring that to this space. They want to bring their connections to this space, whether those connections be in investment, real estate, management, whatever you can think of from the in real life as a benefit. They want to bring that into this space and into our community and provide that to the community through the holding of the NFT. Now that could be the NFT that you hold could have a unique trait that allows you to participate in a certain thing. It could be the amount of meth tokens you have could allow you to participate. As an example, purchasing the card game that we talked about, the Founders game, the Founders Edition. There's a lot of different directions we can go with this, and the founders are very set on making sure that they deliver that utility to our members. They want to make sure that they're not saying to the community, "Hey, it's just an NFT," which is great in itself. Don't get me wrong. I love the art. I love the gamification. I love the minting of additional NFTs, the tokens. I think that's all exciting. But to now add to that additional layer of in real life events that are adding to live your best life, which is the ethos that we live by here, living your best life. And that's what we want to help everybody else do. I think that's going to be a real amazing part of the project. And those are going to be disclosed as we get through the roadmap. The most important thing right now is getting to our mint, making sure that our art is on point, making sure our contracts are on point, making sure that we're giving everybody enough information and guidance on how to get to mint and hold these in your wallet. And once we get through that mint and are ready to get into the project, then we're going to start talking about all these additional benefits that we're going to have in the project itself.
Thank you. That's a great answer, Tank. Someone asked you this question last week, but it does come up. Will meth tokens be able to be exchanged outside of the BAP ecosystem?
So we talked about this last week. The project, the team is not doing a liquidity pool. So we're not establishing a liquidity pool. But that does not mean that somebody else decides to do it themselves. If we have a whale in the project that acquires a lot of our Genesis bulls, and they start to acquire those tokens and want to create a liquidity pool and pair up tokens with a stable coin and provide that on an exchange, that's theirs to do. These tokens are an ERC20 like any other ERC20. So all it takes is one person to do that, to set a value, and now we've set a value for what these tokens can be. So to answer the question, most likely it's going to happen. I expect it to happen, and I can't tell you how quick, but it could be fairly quick. Because keep in mind, 30 days is the grazing period that we have. So for 30 days, everybody's holding these bulls in their wallets. They can't do anything with them. I mean, you could give them back if you decide you want your money back. Which, keep in mind, you've got from day 1 to day 30 to think about it. And then on day 31 is the first day you can execute your ETH back guarantee if you decide you don't like the project. Go onto our website. You're going to have to answer a couple questions, click a button. The ETH goes back to you, the 0.17, or if you mint on public mint, whatever that public mint price is going to be, goes back to your wallet and we get that bull back. I don't know why anybody would, but you never know. So for that first 30 days, that grazing period, that cooling off period, while everybody's sitting on their bulls deciding if they want to stick with it, you're collecting meth tokens in your wallet. So come day 31, or you're collecting meth tokens within the bull itself, and then you'll go onto the website to then execute the contract to pull those meth tokens in your wallet on day 31. And once you do that, some people may have a quite large quantity of meth tokens in their wallet and decide, you know what? I like the game, but I'm more interested in what the value of these tokens is going to be, and they may decide to throw them up on the market right away. That very well could happen. We don't know.
Thank you. Question in regards to the contract. When do you think the community members will be able to look at it?
That's a great question. So I know that it has been reviewed by a few people already, and from everything that I've heard, the contract is great. I will pose that question to Anthony. Anthony, our CEO, is the one that's handling the contract itself, and find out the plan on making that contract public. Absolutely. I will ask that question.
Thank you. Another question that I believe came up last week was, would you be able to provide more insight in regards of the Creator Bull?
Haha. I was wondering if this was going to come up. Yes. So we had a lot of questions about the impact of the Creator Bull on we're calling him the Creator Bull, but he may not be the Creator Bull. And let me tell you why. So we've been talking about the creator, he's a bull and he's the 10,000. So in the lore, the creator is looking at all these planets, trying to decide where he wants to create this new civilization. Finds a planet, and of course, as he'd been traveling the universe, he'd ran across the bulls on our little blue marble here and decided how he loved those bulls. So when he found this new planet, he decided to create these bulls. Well, when he did, he created 9,999 bulls. And then he decided he was going to use the last of his energy to become that 10,000th bull. So in our lore, and we talked about this last week, sometime in the future, the creator is going to have enough power, apparently, to now reveal himself. And when he reveals himself, he's going to reveal himself as a one of one NFT. So now I had been in my mind, because I've asked Manny and he has not shared, unfortunately. But I had wondered, what is this creator going to look like? Is he going to be something different? Is he another bull? And we've been talking about the creator bull. Well, he's not a creator bull, he's a creator. So if you looked at the lore, I don't know this, I don't have no inside information on this, but you saw the creator in our storyline that was just released yesterday, and he was this energy field that was in this really cool, looked like containment suit of some kind. And I thought that that was really cool. And who knows, maybe that's a little bit of an insight of what our one of one's going to look like. So did I answer the question? I think I got sidetracked on. The tokenomics. Yes. So the question came up last week about this creator, how I don't know if it's a he or she, how they are going to have an impact on the overall tokenomics in game. So I posed that question, and I was basically told, "Oh, we want to keep a little bit of secrets to ourselves to let the community think about it." So I don't have an answer. Now, is there going to be additional utility? I would venture to say yes. I would say that because it's a one of one, it's going to be unique, not just in the fact that it's a one of one, but there's probably going to be some unique impact on the game itself. What that is, what's that going to be? I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm excited to find out, just like all of you guys are, definitely.
Thank you. Question: will there be a one of one created, and the proceeds would be donated to charity?
At this point, there is no plans of creating any one of ones for charity. The only one of one that we'll have in the collection will be the Creator Bowl. That's going to be somebody's. Like we said before, the creator, because he's the creator and he's humble, he will most likely be, or will be, a what we call a floor NFT or a floor bowl. He's going to be one common bulls. So as we talked about, it's going to be important that when you are deciding if you want to sell one of your Genesis bulls, you really think about it, because if it's a floor bull and you don't think it has a value, it very well could be that creator. That is the only one of one that is planned in the collection. The only exception to that would be our subject one, uh, the initial, and then the mature, and then red. They're not going to be one on one, but they will be unique as far as those three specific NFTs in the collection.
Thank you.
Yep.
Does I think we answered all the questions.
Cool.
Wait. If the creator of an OG is there, if the creator of an OG, is there a chance of him getting burned to create teen? Huh.
No, because we don't burn our OG Genesis bulls. The only collection that is burned is the teens. So our Genesis OG bulls, there's 10,000 in the collection, 9,999 in the one creator. Our teens are 12,450, and of that, 3,450 are burned to acquire the orbs and ultimately the god bulls. So at the end of all of the tokenomics and the gameplay, when everything has been minted, we will end up with 10,500 in our Genesis collection, which is the OG and the God, and then 9,000 of the Teen Bowls and 1,000 of the merger orbs. So let's talk about that real quick. So last week we had talked about a hole, that or loophole that we had found in the gamification. And what that loophole was that we had the same number of merger orbs that would be required to mint the equal number of God Bulls. And what we found was that if somebody played the game, they could skip all of the requirements of collecting all these multiple teens, basically mint one teen, take that one teen with 4,800 tokens and mint an orb, and then sit on that orb indefinitely. Well, not indefinitely, at least until the point where the contract automatically then mints, which is years out. but they could sit on those orbs with an expectation that eventually it would turn into a God Bull. So we felt that that was unfair. It was unfair for our smaller holders because our smaller holders would not have that opportunity to work towards getting the God if you had maybe some whales that came in and collected multiple bulls and then utilized that power to just collect these orbs. So what we did to correct that was we added 1,000 additional orbs to the collection. What that does is that basically forces people that start holding the orbs to have to make a decision of how long do I want to hold these and when should I really be working the game to get to the God Bowl. Because once the 490 God Bowls are minted, because keep in mind there's 10 God Bowls being released with the initial mint coming up, after those 500 are minted, then there's no more God Bowls in the collection. So there's going to be 1,000 orbs that are going to be left over. Now, those 1,000 orbs, in my opinion, are going to have value. There's going to be something that's going to happen with them, I would bet, later on in the game. So I would hold on to them. I think that there's going to be something in there that's going to be exciting in future mints. Maybe mint 2, maybe mint 3, we don't know. So that being said, 10,500 for the initial collection, the Genesis, which includes the bulls and the God, 9,000 for the teens, and then now these 1,000 additional orbs that will be a collection in themselves.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
I gave everyone one more chance to ask in general or to come up on stage. We could give it another 30 seconds, but I believe Tank was great tonight and was able to answer everyone's questions in regards of the video from Anthony to provide more insight in regards of the IP that you get with your OG bull. I know Anthony's going to produce it. Maybe Tank, you know, a time frame, a week,
Well,
10
I
days.
would. It will most likely come up as a question in our mega spaces, which don't forget is next week. So if we want to make sure that everybody here is going to join us for the mega spaces next week, Tuesday. Oh shoot, what is the time? I just
Oh, next
yes,
no.
yes, we've already done that, right?
Well, next Tuesday is the 10th, right?
Yeah, so that's out there. So Anthony posted the video on Twitter about our next mega spaces. So make sure that everybody's there. That's going to be exciting, and there'll be more information about that spaces that we will disclose over the next few days with additional videos like we've done before. So make sure you're staying tuned about the collaborations that we're working on and how exciting it's going to be. I'm super stoked for it. I'm definitely looking forward to it. So I guess if we don't have any more questions about tokenomics, we will convene. And since next week, this will be the time for our
Oh,
mega. Yeah, go ahead.
we have Data Lorian. I'll invite him
Yeah,
to speak. He just sent us a request. Sorry. Hey, bud.
Lorian, what's up, man?
Hey, not much. Thanks for your time tonight, and thanks for going into so much detail. So I'm pretty new to the NFT space,
Well,
and
welcome.
so
Welcome.
well, thank you. I'm curious when it comes to minting these teen bulls and then kind of going through the whole process with the orbs and then trying to obtain the god bull. um as you go through that, are you essentially you're burning those NFTs, right? So those are going to be no longer in existence because they are now essentially used to create a completely separate NFT. Am I understanding that right?
That is correct. Yeah, it's deflationary. So we actually have created a deflationary project. So where we have these larger numbers of NFTs, it's going to be up to people to decide which ones they want to burn. They will no longer exist. So yeah, they're going to be it's deflationary, and they'll be so it'll all be on our website. You'll execute all of these transactions via our website. So keep in mind, being new to the project, if anybody DMs you or anybody sends you anything that says, hey, this is where you need to go get this NFT, or hey, we're doing some kind of special thing, those are
Hmm.
all fake. Yeah. So everything that's going to be executed for these additional mints will be via our website, and those links will be on the website itself, in this official Discord channel, or on our Twitter page itself. So that's the three places you'll be able to find where to be able to execute these additional contracts.
Perfect. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, the first day I was in the channel, I got a DM, and as soon as I did, I immediately just reported spam and turned off my DMs. I was like, nope.
Yeah.
So no, that's everybody's been super helpful trying to make sure everybody's aware of the security issues that come into play here. So that's been really great. So thank you.
Yeah, no worries. It's important, and being new, spreading the word to anybody else that's new. There's so many scams out there, and that's the sad part. But as a community, and that's what's so important about the community, Poco and his entire team, the mods are amazing, and they will guide you. And if they don't know the answer, they're going to find it out, and will definitely get you the information that you need. So, yeah, anything pops up, you have any question whatsoever, ask first before you execute, and that way you cover yourself. And we don't want anybody sad. We want everybody happy. We want everybody to get in there and mint their bowls and start playing the game, and not be disappointed because they clicked on the wrong button, or they went someplace they shouldn't have. So we definitely want to, like we say in the construction industry, measure twice, cut once. We want to maybe ask twice before we execute, right? So
Absolutely.
yep. Cool. Any other questions?
Yep.
Roy,
Zuzani.
by the way, may the fourth be with you, brother, tomorrow, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah,
That is
I'm excited. I'm a Star Wars fan. Huge.
nice.
Cool. All right, Poco,
All
what's up?
right.
Thanks, buddy.
Zuzane, I've sent a request for you to speak, you or she, and here you are.
Awesome. Hey guys, thanks for inviting me up.
Yeah.
With God Bulls, I know regular bulls do 10 tokens a day, and do the God Bulls, I think I remember something from an earlier space saying that they did more tokens than that per day. How many was that? Is that still valid?
20 tokens per day. So the God Bulls, you will earn 20 tokens per day. And the amazing thing with that, and who knows, this is just speculation on my part. Once we get into Mint 2 with the apes, you never know what kind of influence an ape could have on a God Bull. That's going to get exciting.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you. And I believe we do not have any more questions for today, Tank.
Cool. About an hour, man. We're doing this pretty good. We're getting right in within the hour. So if anybody has any questions, I have been jumping into the Tokenomics channel. I think it's only Poco. Do you know if we got that updated to be able to make sure that people that aren't necessarily whitelist have been able to get in? I asked Guy if we could do that. So I know there's been some questions that have been presented in there. So I've been getting in that channel and answering them the best I can between these spaces. So please feel free. Always ask me in the general chat if you tag me and I'm not in the room. When I do jump in, I always search my name to see if there's been any questions that I've been tagged in that I can try to answer. So sometimes you'll see me scroll back hours, and all of a sudden I'll answer a question that may have been posted hours ago. So I'll always jump in there and search my name. So if anybody has any questions, needs additional information, please. Or you can also hit me up on Twitter. If you're following me on Twitter, I do have my DMs open on Twitter. So feel free. You can DM me on Twitter if you've got questions there, and I'll answer as many as I can.
Thank you very much for your time, Tank. And Tank is always open to answering your questions. Tag him anywhere in Discord and he'll find you.
I'll find you. Cool. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time. I really do.
Thank you.
Thanks.